After a whole year of waiting, we finally have it. Greetings, Rigil Agateiades here. Today we have the new packs in Master Duel. 3 new secret packs and a selection pack. There are a lot of new cards. Rescue Ace got the one new card that made them meta in the OCG even as I'm speaking, while the new illusion monster type comes with a fusion deck that goes well with Branded. Mikankors and Pearlies also got new cards, but more importantly, out of the blue and not mentioned in the new pack notice at all, we finally got our 2 new cards. Well, not even new at this point. In the new pack, Ursarctic's got 2 cards that completely changed the way we play the deck. The first card is the Ultimate Bright Knight Ursarctic Alpha. A level 7 non-tuner monster, it is both a Drytron and an Ursarctic monster by rule, and only has one effect. When we control an Ursarctic or Drytron monster, we can special summon it from the hand and then search a Drytron or Ursarctic spell trap. Not having to tribute is revolutionary in its own way, but the search is the important part. For the first time, Ursarctics can search their spell traps without waiting for Septentrion to trigger. And as you may already know, Ursarctics have an absolutely cracked spell. The second new card that changed the entire deck is Ursarctic Polar Star. With this one card, we solved the fundamental problem of shutting off Xyz and Links only to find out that the opponent was playing Fusion. Polar Star also comes with only one effect, but that's all we need. The second ever level 1 synchro monster, the summoning condition is the same as the original Polari, a tuner and a non-tuner with a level difference of 1. With its effect, it tributes itself and a level 8 Ursarctic monster in the hand to special summon a level 7 Ursarctic synchro monster, with an extra effect given to it. While that synchro monster is on the field, it gains this effect. Your opponent cannot activate the effects of monsters with a level that was special summoned from the extra deck. The intention of this effect is clear. It's to fill up the gap Septentrion had. Before, Septentrion only negates the effects of monsters without a level, special summoned from the extra deck. Now with Polar Star's effect, even extra deck monsters with a level can't use their effects. Finally, Ursarctics have a viable answer against fusion and synchro decks, and can even shut down some pendulum summoned monsters. And boy do I love the card art. That's the new cards. Time to get on the deck building. With the new cards, the way we build our deck is very different from before. Instead of blinding second, we want to go first. That means we can take out all the kaijus and stuff, and replace them with every Ursarctic possible to go through hand traps and make it consistent. We'll go over the combo later, but you may have realized, Rigil, what on earth are you thinking? Why are you playing 2 radiation only? The answer is simple. It breaks. Whenever you have 2 cards you can't tribute in your hand is already very risky. And with 3, it's a dead hand unless you drill exactly Departure or Ursarctic Alpha off the 1 radiation draw. If you can't summon, radiation doesn't draw you cards. So instead, you rather draw less radiation and get hands that work. Secondly, now that we have a way to search radiation, the ideal hand has changed. What we want to do is draw exactly one of either Ursarctic Drytron or Ursarctic Radiation, and never both, because we want to search the other with the Ultimate Bright Knight Alpha Ursarctic. Do the maths? I did that seriously. The highest chance to draw exactly 1 in a 5-card hand is 8 copies in a 40-card deck. What 8 copies do we have that we only want to draw 1 of? 2 Radiation, 2 Fafnir, 1 Drytron, and Barrier Statue of the Torrent. The staple of anti-meta beatdown is incredible in this deck. Can't believe I'm saying that, but it really is perfect. We don't care about locking into water. We can just normal summon it since we don't need one ourselves. And as to the benefits of the statue, well, I don't really have to explain that, do I? Not only does it prevent our opponents from playing the game in the first place, but more importantly, it can also prevent our opponents from using Nibiru on us. It is also surprisingly useful going second. when going against opponents like Labyrinths and Snake Eyes. With all these uses, there's really no reason not to play it at free. One more thing, our deck is pretty good at getting the statue. How, you may ask? Well, you dig. If we have the right cards, we can draw all 7 cards of Radiation, while filling a huge portion of our deck with our searches. Chances are, digging through half the deck finds you one of the free statues. Another reason to play free. Finally, the hand traps. Our bears can play like hand traps themselves, but they aren't enough. The 2 Phantasmae can deep draw even harder when our opponent link summons, especially good when going against Snake Eyes to find our favorite rock, and when our opponent doesn't link summon, we can just use it as a tribute. Same for Nib, so you can definitely run 3 of each if you want. Then free Max C. Max C is also one of the cards that can break your hand going first, but you all know how good it is. Our deck also benefits greatly from having extra cards in the hand even while on the opponent's turn. Worst case scenario, it replaces itself with a draw, or we use it to make a Baron. That's the deck, time to combo. Here we are with our favorite combo partner, the True Monarch. This is the fundamental combo, and takes a big bear and the new Ursarctic Alpha. You also need a tribute, and the nibs are perfect for that. Okay, let's begin. We start with putting a big bear on the field so we can summon Ursarctic, and then search for Fafnir, which searches Ursarctic Drytron, the fusion spell. With a big and a small bear, we can now make the first ever level 1 synchro, Ursarctic Polari, and activates its effect to get the field spell Big Dipper. With Polari's effect, and replacing the tribute by banishing the small bear in the grave, summon the big one. Don't get them flipped. With Big Dipper's cost replacing effect used, now you can use it as fusion material. Yep, we are using the field spell to fusion. And 2 of them, one from the deck. With this, we can fusion summon Ultimate Flagship Ursarctic. Ultimate Flagship Ursarctic can immediately add the banished small bear, but what we really want is to trigger the search effect. To do so, we need to get a monster to our field. Any monster would do, but we can guarantee that by synchro summoning Ravenous Crocodile Archivist. Crocodile is not just a good way to trigger the search, it also gets us an extra draw. With the search of Flagship Ursarctic, we can now search for a big bear. Summon it and we get to the new level 1 synchro, Ursarctic Polar Star. Polar Star's effect requires you to tribute a big bear in the hand, but we don't always have it. What we definitely have though, is the fusion spell in the grave. The second effect allows us to replace the tribute for an Ursarctic effect, and we'll use that for Polar Star's effect. Down comes Ursarctic Septentrion, and that's the key part of the board accomplished. What do we have here? First of all, Septentrion is now a full floodgate for the extra deck. Extra deck monsters with a level can't activate their effect, while those without a level have their effects straight off negated. Septentrion also has the effect to search for any Ursarctic card when the opponent special summons a monster. With all big bears essentially DD Crows, MSTs or Book of Moons, that's another interaction. And to add to that, when the monster is special summoned to your field, Flagship Ursarctic can get us a second search. Considering how this combo takes 3 cards, it's definitely not as powerful as other combo boards with infinite negates or locks. But don't forget, this is just the bare minimum. By having another big bear in the hand, we can use Polar Star's effect again. Not once per turn, and we can summon Grand Chariot for some targeting protection. And if we had access to Radiation from the beginning, we'd have drawn 8 cards into our deck. A high chance of landing us on one of the signature monsters of evil. That's the combo, time to go through the replays. First duel, and we go first against the meta, with a hand that popped off real hard. Our opponent is on Snake Eyes, but you'll find out it doesn't quite matter soon enough. Fafnir to test if they have Ash, no response, we are good to go. Departure alone searches us the 2 pieces we need to start a combo, and this is why we want to draw exactly 1 of Radiation or Ursarctic Drytron. Ursarctic searches us the Radiation, and we're set to deep draw. Use up the field spell cost, replacing effect to banish a monster, fusion summon with the field spell and immediately add back what we banished. Banish the spare Big Bear in the grave this time for this reason. Polari and the Big Bear make the croc with a mouthful name, and look at our hand size. Radiation is just incredible. We have spare small bears in the hand, so we summon that instead of using up our Crocodile Dragon when making Polar Star. Crocodile Dragon itself is a quick effect pop. Summoning Polar Star gets us a draw, replace the cost and summon Septentrion, which gets us a second draw. Use Polar Star again, gets us a third, and hits the statue on our 7th draw, and our board is finished. 2 Floodgates, a quick effect pop, 2 searches, and plenty more cards in the hand. With such a board, our opponent simply couldn't find the out and surrenders. Second Duel, and we'll display the biggest weak point of our board. Konami simply refused to give Ursarctic any destruction protection or negates. We went first and we built our board as usual. That other monster in the starting hand was Alpha the Master of Beast when I was playing it instead of a third Maxi to out anything that has targeting protection. Not the strongest board because we didn't draw Radiation, but with targeting protection for Septentrion, it's quite good, made even better by our Maxi going through. Our opponent is on Earth Machines and we Maxi on the Brutal Dozer. Don't know why our opponent didn't stop there. Instead, they make a River Stormer only to find out Septentrion is a Floodgate, and passes the turn with us drawing 3 cards and a Surge, a +4 in total. Things are looking extremely well for us. We line up our 5 Ursarctic monsters ready to do lethal, going after the back row on the way, but then disaster struck. Some traps activate and down comes Machina Citadel, or Machina if you insist. That is a huge problem because our one weak point is a good old Raigeki. Board's gone, there's literally nothing we can do but bury a statue and pray. Most likely we can survive a turn, but whether we can survive long enough until we restart is a totally different story. Opponent's turn, he gets a draw from the trap in the grave, summons Gearframe which sadly has more than 1000 attack, and searches the super classic Machina Fortress. Battle phase, clears off our statue and summons the Fortress in main phase 2. Fortress doesn't actively interact, but rips a card off our hand when we target it and pops another on the field when we destroy it by battle. The worst part is, destroying any monster on his field will trigger the bane of our existence, Machina Citadel. We passed the turn praying that he didn't have lethal, which he didn't. We wanted to save the statue for when we are comboing and stop their Citadel from returning. With Radiation live and enough cards to start the combo in the first place, we can now turn the tide back to our favor, while our second barrier statue just shuts off all our opponent's interactions. Megapolar searches for Megabilis and draws a card, summon Megabilis and banish the Citadel, and we draw another. Once Radiation goes through, there's really nothing that can stop us. Go into Polar Star instead of the normal Polari because we play no backup field spells, summoning Grand Chariot to pop both back row and then Megatanus to walk over the Gearframe as well. Into battle. When we destroy the Fortress by battle, we can negate the targeting effect with Grand Chariot. With Barrier Statue on the field, no Citadel to ruin our day again, we just cruise our way to victory. I am so glad that we can finally play Ursarctic again. The deck is way better than before, with Ultimate Bright Knight Ursatron Alpha getting us to Radiation and the Fusion effortlessly, and Polar Star giving us a good endpoint to end on. The new cards are also both SRs, making the deck really cheap even at full power, so do give it a try. Of course, there's still more work to do on this deck to optimize it, but it's great to be able to play our favorite Space Bears again. That's it from me today. Latest.